My parents demanded I drop out of college to bail out my spoiled sister. Now I've exposed their favoritism and taken back control of my life. Hey, Reddit. I need to get this off my chest because I feel like I'm losing my mind. I always knew my sister was the favorite, but what my parents just asked of me has completely shattered any illusion that I was ever anything more than an afterthought to them. I'll start from the beginning. I have an older sister, Lily. Ever since we were kids, it was clear she was the golden child. My parents doted on her, defended her every mistake, and gave her anything she wanted, no matter how ridiculous. If she threw a tantrum, they gave in. If she broke something, they replaced it. If she failed at something, they found someone else to blame. Me? I had to fend for myself. For example, when Lily turned 16, my parents bought her a brand new car. A nice one, too. When I turned 16, my dad let me use his old junker that barely ran, but only if I paid for gas and repairs myself. When she crashed her car 2 months later, they replaced it immediately. Meanwhile, if I so much as asked for a little help with something, I got the standard "life isn't fair" speech. School was the same. Lily struggled. She barely passed her classes, skipped school regularly, and partied her way through college. Our parents paid for private tutors, covered all her tuition and expenses, and kept telling her to just focus on herself. Me? I busted my ass in school, got good grades, worked part-time to afford my own books, and still, not once did they offer to help me financially. I always told myself it was just bad luck that things turned out this way, that maybe I was overreacting. But the truth was hard to ignore. Lily was their priority, and I was just there. Right now, I'm in my second year of college. I work 2 part-time jobs to cover my tuition and rent because, surprise, surprise, my parents didn't save a dime for me. I've been completely on my own since I left for college, and honestly, I was fine with that. At least I had my independence. Then, last week, I got the phone call. I was exhausted after a long shift at work, sitting in my dorm eating instant ramen when my mom called me. The moment I answered, I could tell something was off. Her voice was soft, almost hesitant. "Sweetheart," she said, "we need to talk. It's about Lily." Of course it was. It was always about Lily. I sighed. What happened now? There was a long pause before she finally said, "We're in a bit of a financial bind. Your father and I have been doing everything we can to support Lily through her struggles, but, well, we're running out of money." I already had a bad feeling about where this was going. "And?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. Mom took a deep breath. "We need you to come home, to drop out of college and work full-time so we can keep supporting Lily." I nearly choked on my ramen. "Wait, what?" "We just need you to help out for a little while," she continued quickly, as if she could sense my rage bubbling up. "Lily is going through a really rough time and she needs us now more than ever. You know how hard things have been for her." "Hard?" I interrupted. "Lily has never worked a day in her life. She's had everything handed to her. And now, because you chose to spend all your money on her, you want me to fix it?" Dad suddenly cut in. "Son, this is about family. We all have to make sacrifices." I couldn't help but laugh. Actually laugh. "That's funny because I don't remember Lily making any sacrifices." They didn't like that. Mom started crying, saying I was being selfish, that I didn't understand what it meant to be there for family. I told her that if being there for family meant giving up everything I had worked for while Lily got to keep living comfortably, then maybe I didn't want to be part of this family. That's when Dad said it. "If you won't do this, then you're no longer our son." I froze. I had always known, deep down, that they didn't care about me the way they cared about Lily. But hearing it out loud, that broke something inside me. I took a deep breath and said, "Then I guess I'm not your son." And I hung up. That was a week ago. Since then, I've gotten about a dozen texts and missed calls from my parents, all variations of, "We didn't mean it like that." "Lily is heartbroken that you're turning your back on us." "You're being incredibly selfish." And my personal favorite, "When you have a family of your own, you'll understand." I haven't answered any of them. A few days ago, I got a text from Lily herself. She didn't even apologize, just said she was shocked that I would abandon our family like this, and that money comes and goes, but family is forever. I wanted to scream. Easy for her to say. She's never had to struggle a day in her life. My extended family is divided. My aunt and uncle called me saying they always knew my parents favored Lily and that they completely understand why I cut them off. But my grandparents? They think I should just suck it up because family comes first. I don't know what to do. I feel angry, betrayed, and honestly, done. I'm tired of always being the one expected to sacrifice everything. I'm tired of being the backup plan, the afterthought, the disposable child. I'm tired of being told that my future is less important than my sister's comfort. Right now, I'm staying strong. I haven't spoken to my parents since that phone call, and I don't plan to. I know that if I cave now, it'll never end. The moment I give in, they'll keep demanding more and more from me until I have nothing left. But at the same time, part of me feels guilty. Not because I think I'm wrong, because I know I'm right. But because deep down, there's still that little kid in me who just wanted his parents to care about him the way they cared about his sister. That kid is finally realizing that they never did. So, Reddit, tell me, am I the asshole for refusing to drop out of college? Or is it finally time for me to walk away from this toxic cycle? Hey, Reddit, it's me again, Jake. I know I left you all hanging with my last post about my family drama, but buckle up, because the roller coaster just took another wild dive. If you thought things were over after I hung up on my parents for demanding I drop out of college, you're in for a shock. Spoiler alert, the real truth about my sister Lily has finally come crashing down, and it's more insane and entertaining than anything I could have imagined. After that fateful phone call where I declared, "If you won't do this, then you're no longer my parents," I thought I'd finally gotten some breathing room. I shut down every call, ignored every text, and concentrated on my classes and my work. But apparently my parents have an uncanny talent for persistence. They bombarded me with messages, emails, texts, even snail mail. Yes, actual letters, folks, trying to guilt-trip me into coming home. They claimed I was making a terrible mistake and that family is everything. At first, I tried to ignore it. I thought maybe they'd cool off, but no, their calls only got more desperate. They started showing up at my dorm unannounced, pleading with me to come back and make things right. It wasn't long before I realized that my rebellious decision to stand up for myself had turned into a full-blown war with my parents. Every time I turned around, there was a new demand or a sob story meant to break my resolve. I've never felt so caught between duty and self-preservation. My heart was in chaos, torn between the kid who always wanted parental love and the adult who's sick of being treated like a charity case for my sister's never-ending messes. Just when I thought things couldn't get any crazier, the real bombshell dropped. One evening, I was scrolling through social media on my phone, trying to distract myself from the relentless calls from home, when I noticed something bizarre. There was a live stream going on, a casino live stream to be exact. The camera panned over a flashy, neon-lit slot machine, and I could barely believe my eyes when I saw a familiar face on screen. It was Lily. At first, I thought it was some kind of elaborate prank or a mistaken account, but the more I watched, the more it became clear. My sister, the golden child who had always been treated like royalty, was deep in the world of online gambling. And not just a little dabble, she was on a winning streak, betting hundreds of dollars at a time, and her expressions told a story of exhilaration and, frankly, recklessness. My stomach churned as I watched her. Here she was, living in a world where everything had always come easy, and now she was chasing losses and chasing thrills like it was some kind of twisted game. I couldn't believe that the same Lily who'd been handed everything on a silver platter was now risking everything on a spinning slot machine. I started digging. Over the next few days, I pieced together the shocking truth. Lily had been hiding a secret life of high-stakes gambling. It wasn't just a few casual bets. She was deep in debt, racking up losses that our parents had been covering up for years. The money they spent on her wasn't helping her learn a lesson, it was enabling her addiction. And the worst part? They'd been lying to me about it. I couldn't take it anymore. I knew I had to confront Lily, not just for my own sanity, but to finally break the cycle of deception in our family. I decided to crash one of her secret sessions. One night, while she was supposed to be studying at the house, a flimsy excuse she always used, I managed to sneak into her room. I grabbed her laptop and started scrolling through her browser history. What I found made my blood run cold. Pages of gambling sites, online casinos, and forums boasting about her big wins and massive losses. There were even screenshots of bank transfers and transactions that revealed a staggering amount of money lost over the past year. I confronted her the next morning. I remember her face, shock, fear, anger, everything exploded all at once. "How could you do this?" I demanded, voice shaking with a mix of betrayal and fury. "How could you risk everything on gambling, knowing how much our family has already sacrificed for you?" Lily tried to brush it off, saying she was just having fun or making some extra cash, but I wasn't having any of it. I felt like I was watching a car crash in slow motion, knowing that once this happened, there was no going back. Our conversation escalated quickly. Accusations flew back and forth, and for the first time in years, I saw the real consequences of our parents' endless indulgence. Lily's gambling wasn't just a bad habit. It was a symptom of the toxic favoritism that had been allowed to fester in our family for far too long. She had always been the golden child, but now her glitter was tarnished by greed and self-destruction. I couldn't keep this to myself. The secret had to come out, and I knew it was time to rally the rest of the family. I sat down and drafted an email that I knew would shake things up. Long overdue and brutally honest. I explained everything. The relentless favoritism, the financial drains, the empty promises, and now Lily's gambling addiction that was spiraling out of control. I didn't hold back a single word. I hit send, and the fallout was immediate. Within hours, my inbox was flooded with responses. Cousins, uncles, aunts, people who had been silently watching the circus of our family dynamics were now chiming in, and most of them were on my side. They shared their own stories of how they'd been marginalized, how they'd seen the parents' endless excuses for Lily's behavior, and how they'd finally had enough. One of my cousins, who I'll call Mike, wrote, "Jake, I always knew something was off. We've been watching from the sidelines while you carried the weight of this family. I'm with you, man. It's time we held them accountable." Others echoed his sentiment, each message fanning the flames of a long overdue family revolt. Soon, what started as a private email exploded into a full-blown family group chat. The relatives, many of whom I'd barely spoken to in years, were now united in their outrage. They were sharing screenshots of past messages, old family photos, and even memories of times when Lily's behavior had cost them dearly. The narrative had shifted. For once, the truth was coming to light, and everyone was siding with me against our selfish, self-indulgent parents. My parents, predictably, tried to spin the story. They called me one by one, begging, pleading, and even threatening to disown me if I continued to spread lies. They claimed that I was being ungrateful, that I didn't understand the sacrifices they'd made for Lily. But the more they talked, the more transparent their desperation became. Dad even tried to pull the old guilt trip card again. "When you have a family of your own, you'll understand." Well, guess what? I already have a family, one that's finally coming together in support of truth and accountability. They scheduled an emergency family meeting insisting that I come home immediately, but by then, it was too late. The relatives had taken my side, and the meeting turned into a verbal showdown. Voices were raised, accusations were hurled, and for the first time in my life, I felt empowered by the support of extended family members I'd never even met before. At the meeting, Aunt Susan, a longtime critic of our parents' favoritism, stood up and said, "I've seen this for years. Lily's behavior, her gambling, the way she's been coddled, enough is enough. It's time our parents start treating us all equally." Her words resonated with everyone in the room, and even some of the younger cousins nodded in agreement. The atmosphere was electric, a mix of anger, relief, and the promise of change. My parents, cornered and exposed, finally broke down. They admitted that they'd always done Lily's bidding, that they'd sacrificed everything for her, and that they never realized how it affected the rest of us. But apologies meant nothing now. The damage was done, and the family was united against their toxic cycle of favoritism.